Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Moving on to topic 2, and here we'll look at biomes. Now what are biomes? Okay, we learned about ecosystem in the earlier topic. Now we'll learn about biomes. Now first thing is, what is biome? Biomes are very large ecosystems on land. So we know what ecosystems are, right? Ecosystems are that complex relationship between plants, animals, and the environment in which they live, where their coexistence depends upon one another. Now, biomes are very large such ecosystems on land, okay? Not on water, not on anywhere, on land. Now, such biomes has vegetation and animals typical only to that area. So, in a biome, in one biome, the animals and the vegetation that exist, they are typical to that area only. Okay. So, in another biome, they will have animals and plants typical to that area. Alright, so an area becomes a biome which has very large ecosystem with vegetation and animals typical to that very area. Okay. Now the vegetation, we already know vegetation, right? So vegetation is plants and animals, plants and trees which are grown on their own and sometimes with any form of human intervention, right? So such vegetations are also part of the biome. Okay. Now, as we said, animals are also part of the biome. Okay. But in such biomes, the plants form the main basis. So plants become very significant, very important. Okay, but this is not to say that animals are not important. In an ecosystem, plants and animals are both important. So in a similar manner, in biomes, plants and animals also coexist. But here, the plants form the main basis of the formation of such biomes. Okay. Now, in the world, there are 5 different kinds of biomes. Alright, the first one is forests. Second, savanna. Third, grassland. Fourth, desert. And fifth, tundra. These are the 5 main biomes that are present in the world. Okay. Now, in a biome, there may be variations in the collections of plant and animal species. So, the plants and animals that are present in a biome, they belong to many species, many different kinds of species. They're different from one another. Alright, so that is the characteristic of a biome. And these biomes, okay, with their different and varieties of species of animals and plants, they're very important. Now, why they're important? Because with such biomes, with numerous species, different species of plants and animals, we can study the vegetation pattern. We can study the different kinds of plants and animals that exist in that area or in such areas in other parts of the world. Okay, we can understand more about it or deeply about plants and animals or different kinds of plants and animals that are found in the world. Okay, now these different patterns, okay, now this different species of plants and animals, how they grow, where they grow, how many species are there, how they help the animals and the human beings, these patterns which are studied from the biomes, they are very important for us, for everybody, okay, for the life that exists on earth. Okay, so because of such reasons, biomes are very important. Now in India, the flora, now we know what flora is. right? The vegetation, the plants and animals, the plants and trees. So the floras, they range from those that are found in the tropics to those that are found in Arctic region, meaning the plants that are found, the trees that are found in our country, they range from those found in very cold areas and those that are found in very hot areas. So tropics mean hot areas, Arctic region means cold areas. So we have both kinds of flora in our country. Okay. Now this is because we have unique and we have different kinds of landscape or geographical features. We have different temperature, right? We have tropical, we have temperate, all these are climatic conditions depending on the region and the landscape. We did this in one of our earlier chapters, right? How we have Himalayas and we have cold a winter season, we receive snowfall, and in the peninsular part we have moderate climatic conditions, and in some areas it's very hot, it's extremely hot, in some areas it's extremely wet because of the rainfall. So all these influence the kind of flora that our country has. So the diversity in the flora, the different kinds of plants and trees that we have in our country, that is because of the temperature, climatic conditions, the relief and the rainfall conditions that we experience in our country. Okay. But having said that, there are also some flora, there are also some plants and animals with plants and trees. I keep saying animals, plants and trees which are indigenous. Okay, so if you go to the Himalayas, the regions, okay, some parts in the Himalayas and some parts in the peninsular part of India, of our country, there are certain plants and trees which are indigenous, which are only found in those areas. Okay, and this is why we say that there are some plants which are exclusive to India. They cannot be found anywhere in the world. They can only be found in some parts of our country. Okay, so we say that they're exclusive to the Indian soil. Alright. But there are also plants, there are also trees which are not exclusive to India, meaning they're not from India. They are brought from outside of India and planted in India and have remained in India. Okay, so there are nearly 40% of such plants and trees which have been introduced into India from other countries. Okay, so we said that there are some plants and trees which only belong to India, are from India and can be found in India. They are called indigenous. Okay, indigenous flora. But there are others, nearly 40% in fact, which are brought from outside. Okay, that means the plants and trees, nearly 40% that we have in India, can be found in other countries as well. Okay, and these plants which and trees which were brought from other countries and planted in our countries, they are found mostly in the North Indian plains, in the northern part of India, and in the Thar desert. Okay, now due to the destruction of forests, forests are destroyed when the land is needed for agriculture, when the land is needed for industrial growth, for the settlement of human beings, for people, right? Because of such needs, the forests are destroyed. They are cut down. Massive number of trees are cut down. Okay, and because of such actions, many species of plants and trees, they become extinct. They have become extinct, and if they have not become extinct, they have reached the point of being extinction. If people are not careful with their actions, with how they are taking care of their needs, then by their careless actions of destroying the forest, cutting down the trees, they are going to, okay, they are at the brink of taking those species to extinction. Alright. The vegetation which are natural, which do not need any form of human intervention, which do not need any help from people, okay, those natural vegetations are also called virgin vegetations, okay. So, when we say natural vegetations and virgin vegetations, we know that when crops are cultivated, when trees are planted, when there are plantations that cover the entire hill and the valleys, those are not natural vegetation because they are planted by men, they are planted by women, they are planted as a result of human intervention. So those vegetation, they may look natural, but actually they're not natural. Okay, because we know natural vegetation or the virgin vegetation are those which are grown without any human intervention. So, when we say vegetation in India, so by now we know that most of the vegetation that we see, they're not actually natural, even though they sound like they're natural. Okay, even though sometimes they come across to us as if they're natural, they have just been like that. But they're not natural. They have been grown or they have been planted with the help of the human beings. Okay. So the actual natural vegetation or the virgin vegetation exists but only in some parts of our country, and they are found in remote and unreachable parts of our country in the Himalayas as well as in the Thar Desert area. Okay, and the rest of the vegetation which seem to us as natural, but they are not natural vegetations because they have been disturbed by the human intervention, they have been dismantled and destroyed. Okay, they have not been well maintained, they have not been encouraged, they have not been supported, but rather they have been destroyed. Okay, like I said before, with the need of the people for industrial growth, for settlements, right? With the need of people for wood, for other resources, the forests have been destroyed. The land and soil have been degraded. Okay, so basically the environment, the ecosystem has been destroyed, or degradation of the ecosystem has taken place and has been taken place because of human settlements, because of industrial growths and other such growths and developments. All right. So here is an image of biomes, and you can see there are different zones, okay, on the left. So there is cold zone, Arctic Circle is cold zone, Tropic of Cancer. So Tropic of Cancer, the area which lies in the Tropic of Cancer, between the Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle, that area has cool temperate zone, warm temperate zone, and the equatorial zone has hot zone. Okay, so according to the different and distinct climatic conditions, the plants and trees that grow in those zones, they are distinct from one another. So here the plants that or the vegetation you don't get it in the cool temperate zone. So you don't get pines or you don't get British type deciduous forest in the Arctic zone. Alright. So what I'm trying to say is that we learned that the vegetation, they grow depending upon the specific climatic conditions of that area. Alright. That we have to understand.